What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. I see you guys piling into the room. We'll cover the overall markets and then we'll get through some individual stocks, but definitely some interesting overnight moves. We got Albert in the house, though. Good morning to Andrew. We got Arsenis. Good morning to Bill, Brenda, Brian, George, Jay. Jeff is in the house. Jenny, good morning to you. We got Jill, Joe, JT, Martina, Simon, Wally. The squadron is piling in. Good morning to all of you. Yeah, it's from Brenda says, happy trading Friday. Can you believe it's Friday already? This week, I don't know. I mean, I was like crazy busy, but this week went crazy. All my peeps in YouTube land, appreciate you guys joining each and every day. Good morning. We got Marie Lala in the house. Good morning to Anthony Q Quitters. Q Critter says, can you check out NVIDIA? We will do that for sure. Julie, good morning. Oh man, the squadron is here. I feel good when you guys show up. Show up and ready to go. So we do have a little bit of a continued move up. We were saying this yesterday. We did from what was it, 4 to 5, whatever time I was back on the mic. We're kind of making a case of like we got some gaps down here. We've got gap not filled down here. Gap, we're putting in a lot of gaps in this market, but overall, we were just kind of looking at the dynamics of these gaps and the retest. And we still look like we have some more bullishness ahead of us, and even making a case of why somebody buying the SPY down here, even though it's already run up, is still got a decent risk reward. I mean, we have probably a little resistance coming in at 453.26. After that, we still have this gap fill over here, which I think we're probably shooting for. That's 456.14. And I think do we make new all-time highs in 2023 still on the table conversation? I think so. Could there be a pullback at some point first? And maybe that, I mean, we're running against the clock. That's the bigger thing. We still have a month and a half left though, so not a whole lot of time, but a decent amount of time. And if we just continue with a little bit of momentum, it is very possible for us to hit an all-time high in 2023. So I think that is a valid conversation to have. Markets are definitely trying to push in the right direction today. We have a little bit of a gap up on the SPY. So pre-market sitting right now, I got 451.31. That's not bad. Watch Wednesday's top. Right now, though, we are gapping above all the real question is, do we get a pullback first at open today? I think it'd be buy the dip. If we do, I just don't know. If we open inside, I'll be patient and open. So if we're inside of Wednesday's candle, I'll be patient. Technically, this is a retest gap. Again, if we combine both of these candles together, I lost that pen thing. I love when Zoom puts it on like 3 different screens for me. If we combine both of these candles here, so we open here, we close right here, so throw a little volume into there. We also had some price action here. Essentially, we just have a doji, so bullish, gap up, indecision, a little bit of a rest, and we're gapping up, but we're still inside of that doji. So let's see if we get a little pullback, a little profit taking, but I'm gonna throw a little bit of support if we do get that pullback. Support to me would come in at, I'd be looking for like 450.11. 450, nice psychological whole number, but I think this is still buy the dip for today. And I'm just hoping we get a dip. If we start opening higher than that high wave, there's a good shot we take off. So I got to really watch Wednesday's high on this market, but I'm still in the pretty strong bullish camp. I've been there for a minute, and I don't think anything is really changing in my opinion this morning with this gap. I'm just hoping that we could get a little buyback. I think that would make trading a little bit easier today, but we'll see. We got the Qs. So Qs are gapping down a few pennies, so nothing too crazy, pretty much right at the close of yesterday. I would want to watch for probably about 386.07, maybe a little bit higher than that. Right in that zone somewhere, but 386.07. If we start to break out of that, That is Wednesday's VPOC. That should be our resistance. For support wise, 385.43, so a little bit more of a tight range. Since we have resistance there, I think I would be looking for a pullback here as well, maybe to that 385.43. See if we have the opportunity to hold that. That's starting to build a decent resistance. So now we have the zone of that 385.43 and then a little bit lower 385. So if 385 starts to break, we got to be concerned. Again, there's going to be a little bit of maybe it's not really based on volume, but more just psychological, where get down to the opening price of yesterday, there's going to be probably a little support there. Maybe some bulls waiting for 380, if we get down there. I think that's going to be a decent support there as well. So there's still, I don't think today is going to be a free fall if we do fall out of the sky at all, but a little bit more tight range until we get the break on the Qs. SPY does look a little bit better, but I would still wait for probably a tad pullback to do anything. And then TLT, I saw this one about, I don't know, 40 minutes ago. So let's see if it's in the same place. Essentially, it was a little bit higher. So this one's already starting to pull back a little bit, but when I looked at it, we were above this 90.18 zone. We were at like 90.23. And that was an interesting little development in this entire move as well. So again, still a retest gap. See if it pulls down. Let's see if we get support. I think we have a little bit further to drop here. So about 89.75. Maybe we get down to this 89.68 zone, but somewhere in that spot, I would love to see a little bit more of a pullback and then just kind of correct on out. Bulls find a little support. And next target on this one, first target wouldn't be till like 90, 99 and 91.42. Again, do I trade? I have some positions on, I do have some positions on TLT, but am I looking at this today to trade? No, but if TLT continues to go up higher from here, if this almost head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders looks to hold, again, that will give a little bit more breathing room to the SPY. So I do want to check that out. And we are getting a little gap up, a little pullback there would make sense as well. Let me see. We got Tesla, we got Nvidia. Let me see if I'm missing any other tickers. If you guys have any other tickers you guys want to take a look at, you guys can throw that in there. We got Rivian. We got Oxy, Skin, Alto. All right. And we got 2 requests for Nvidia. So that's where we start the day. We'll take a look at Nvidia. Why 2 requests? Why is that one the most requested stock of the day? Probably because we all look at it every day and we trade it. That's why. But nothing really crazy at the open. We did have essentially a bearish engulfing candle over that high wave 2 days ago. Then we had a gap down. Technically still all inside day. It was a retest as well. The interesting thing on Nvidia was that we had a pretty good resistance at 488.48. Yes, the entire market kind of rallied from that point as well, but that was still a decent resistance, and we had one more resistance ahead of us at 490.69. So all of yesterday, we got a good close above all of that. I am looking at that as support. I'd still want to be bullish on Nvidia from here. 2 things to be concerned with. One would be 496.09. We'll call it we'll just go 496, but somewhere in that zone. That should be where this resistance is. So if this entire thing was a retest gap and we're just going to come in and close into that resistance, that could be a turning spot. I think that would be a spot interesting for the bears to attempt to get in if anyone's brave enough to do that. But that would be my first spot. You got another spot, which would be essentially the high of Wednesday as well, 499.47, and then that psychological hold number, which is 500. That's going to be a tough number to break. As soon as we start breaking that, we probably go easily to 510, 515, somewhere in that zone. But getting to break that spot is going to be a little tough. Otherwise, for me, I'd still remain bullish. Would love to see more of a pullback first, probably back in this 490.46. and then stops anywhere below probably about 488, something like that. So that would give us roughly about $2 stop. If we get this little pullback, reject that resistance, maybe a little. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit more chop for the next couple days up in this zone for Nvidia. So Nvidia could be a little bit tougher to trade. That one for me would be buy the dip and then try to sell it a couple of those resistance spots if possible. Tesla. At least I think somebody said Tesla. Yep, there we go, George. I was like, maybe nobody said Tesla. I forgot. All right, we got Tesla. Let's see. Not looking too great for Tesla. We should have a decent looking support that the bulls did step into prior to 231.02. Really not a great close on Tesla yesterday. Again, the only probably saving grace on Tesla right now is we have, it's not quite tweezers, but we do have a little bit of a double bottom here. Inside day again. See if this one gets bought up. Look for probably a short, I would think. Again, these are just my opinions, but I think we see a little struggle at 234.26. That's the last little resistance. This is a retest gap. We did retest it there. Now we had a gap and go bearish. We do have this wide open gap down here as well. I think a lot of people are going to be looking for this one. I don't think it's going to be the easiest thing to get to. We're still going to have to get through that 200. That's sitting right around 230.20. Again, kind of just bounced off of 231 last time. So probably I would expect a little chopville on this one out of the gate. But if you want to try it, if we get back down to the 231 zone, that's where the bulls did buy it up last time. This is a retest gap. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little buying it open. Resistance comes at 234.36. If that breaks, all right, now we might be in a little bit more play for the next VPOC, which is 236-ish. So somewhere around 236, but still inside day. Going to be a little chopzilla, I would imagine. Fill that gap. I'm going short. Tesla's been just bizarre. I mean, you get these wild gaps. Everything looks like, okay, we're gonna fill. No, we're not. Yes, we are. No, we're not. And it's just tearing up the charts. The inside days are tough. Yesterday's momentum was all bearish, even though the market kind of rallied. Tesla tried to rally at the end, but I don't think the bulls were exactly strong on Tesla yesterday. All right, let's see what else we're missing. We got ISM. I believe that's the ticker. ISM. Indo Food. Maybe this is not a ticker, but yeah, this one's just choppy all over the place. Longer term, you're down at some support, but this thing just looks very, very gappy, light volume. So if this is the one that you're talking about, I'm not sure if that's the exact one. For me, it's that wouldn't be a tradable instrument. Yeah, we got a gap. GPS is up on earnings because Gap is the best store ever. Walmart, not so much. I mean, Walmart had good earnings and they crushed it, but the store that nobody really goes to, they had a little surprise beat. So good for them. The one nice thing on Gap today is, let's see if that short float, they had a good short float prior. Pretty decent short float, and they're still looking at a 17% short float. Probably that's going to start to dwindle after today because the squeeze is on for sure. Otherwise, yeah, decent little gap up. Again, very, very big short float. You are now trapping anybody that's still in it from here short, anybody on there. A little bit of resistance here. This is going to be a tough one to play as well, but I don't really want to go short. I don't really want to short this gap. There's a lot of people trapped on the short side. Like a lot of people trapped. A little bit of resistance. Let's see if we get a little pullback at open. I wouldn't mind trying to play it with the squeeze, trying to go bullish on it. I'm not even sure where to put targets higher. I think the bigger one would be about 1767, so that could give you a full dollar higher. Let's see if we get a pullback. So this is where I'd want my pullback. 1610. If we can get a pullback to 1610, give me a hammer, give me something interesting around that spot that I could take a break of. I think that's how I'd play it. Watch for $17. That's going to be your first little resistance. One after that, I think, takes us to about 1732, and then right into this 1767, 1770 zone. So it still has a little bit more room on it. Let's go to the weekly chart real quick. Yeah, we're starting to hit that heavier volume area. So again, 1774, so somewhere up in there, but we are starting to get into this resistance. I would imagine there's probably anybody who was short. If I was not short, but long, I had positions on this one. I've already made some decent money on Gap, but my money came from, where was I? Nah, I was in this range somewhere. I was getting it somewhere under $10, I think. And looks like I sold that one too soon. Gap. You didn't tell me you're gonna do all this crazy stuff, but yeah, I think we're just part of the squeeze. Fundamentally, I mean, yeah, I guess their earnings were decent. Longer term, I don't, I just personally haven't been to a Gap in ever. I don't think. So I don't know. All right, let's see what else we got. INTC. Just the next one I looked at. Daily chart. Yeah, beautiful looking breakouts on Intel. Great day yesterday. Kind of already did that little recovery. The next real volume area is probably 44.38. We're starting to get into that spot now, but I would, because with the range probably about 43.58 to 45. So somewhere up in that range. We're getting very, very close to it. Otherwise, really good breakout day yesterday. I think momentum looks to continue on this one. Uh, Not doing anything crazy in terms of, and let me take a look at your setup. Not really doing anything crazy in terms of gapping today. So after that move, wouldn't be surprised if we have some type of rest. Yep, see, you're trying to play that rest. You're, let me see, 43.40 by 46. So yeah, you're trying to, yeah, you're really trying to play that retest. You got a lot of momentum in that thing, but that's a big candle. I like your target on it. Reset daily to reset execution on the trigger. Order set. And your stop. I like your stop placement. So yeah, your stop placement I think is fantastic. This might be more of a swing though. I don't know if Intel's gonna move that much today. Can we get back down to this 39.90 zone? Hmm. That's a swing for you. Yeah, I would have to place that thing as a swing. Hey, Lucian, you're gonna be fighting a lot of bulls. I think what happens, and I don't know. I mean, this is what I think happens. I can't. I wish I could tell you what will happen, but I don't know. I would imagine we get some of this. If the entire market wants to come down, then I think we get that break. But I think it's gonna be a Chopville first, maybe a little pullback here. We still have a little bit of room we could get to up in the zone, I think. So let's even go wave count on this thing. It's a very interesting chart because it's run a whole heck of a lot very quickly. I think this is a 1, 2. We might be in out 3. Some kind of 4 or 5 double top in that 44, 45 zone, and then maybe that pullback snap. I think that's something that might happen. Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, unless they have some kind of news or something else that comes out to really flip the momentum, I think any shorts at this point is tough. For the most part in general, but I mean that was a fantastic move. Let me see what the news was. Germany, this is 2 hours ago. Germany stands by Intel commitment after court ruling, yada yada yada. Yeah. Interesting play. They still have. I'd want to see some momentum cool off. Today, I think a small resting day on a day trade purpose, but I think Intel is definitely good to keep on that list for a swing. Definitely overbought. Let's take a look at AMAT. They had earnings. Again, not bad earnings. This is the Walmart. Well, let's take a look at Walmart. What did Walmart end up doing yesterday? Gap down on a pretty, again, not horrible earnings. At least the revenue. I mean, what's an extra 1.15 billion? I don't know. But pretty big gap down after something just ran like crazy. And then we did continue down for the rest of the day. We got into that 200. Maybe not a bad spot to look at Walmart as a little bit of support down here, but let's go back to AMAT and let's see if that has a very similar pattern to it. So we've run. That looks good. A little high wave indecision candle on the daily. I'm tempted to draw some fibs on this thing, but I think that's about a 50% retrace. And it is also a, again, pretty good earnings on AMAT. Their guidance might have been a little bit weaker, but so was gaps. So we have, yeah, we're right. Wow, I nailed that one. We're right at the 50% retracement. So target on this one, the next spot for support, let's see if we get down to 140.19. So to the downside, if you think this one does what Walmart does yesterday, you got about $3.20 to the downside. If you think this one has a little bit of room, that is a retest. So if you want to play this bullish, I could also see a fade here, but I'd be patient on the fade, see what happens on that. Wait for that opening 3-minute candle and then see which way the market wants to take it. If it's opens out of the gate, automatically comes down to this 140. Well, good news, bad news. Bad news is you missed that short side of it, but good news is that's probably the buying spot. So somewhere around 140.23 is where I'd be looking to possibly go long on AMAT. Otherwise, it is a pretty big gap. Lots of bulls being trapped. But anybody who also missed that run is probably in this zone, having it on the radar for where can we buy this thing? All right, let's take a look at Oxy, OXY, the Warren Buffett. He's probably doing an ACH transfer to his account right now. We're in the Warren Buffett buy zone. This pullback, the one thing with Oxy compared to ExxonMobil and compared to, I would say, even Chevron is the way they structure their contracts. They don't have their Oxy's a little bit more volatile, I would say, because ExxonMobil, they're all locking not the bigger guys, but ExxonMobil, Chevron, they're all kind of locking in contracts ahead of time. Oxy does not do that, so they're a little bit more suspect to the overall pricing, the volatility of oil more so than some of the other guys. So watch for that. Obviously, oil's been coming down the last couple days, and this one has also been feeling the effects of that for sure. Watch this 58.63 zone. We do have a little bit of support. We did kind of come into that VPOC zone yesterday. Bulls stepped in on that one. Pre-market, a slight little gap up, high wave indecision. I think we'd be looking for some kind of gap fill bullish on this one, 61.35. So we'll see if that one comes in. Otherwise, probably not really a lot of range on this one today. I wouldn't imagine. If you want to take a stab at this thing for a swing trade, you're very close to that spot to do so. Again, every time we get into this zone down here, you got Mr. Buffett coming in, buying it, and I think he will continue to do so. I don't have a reason why he wouldn't, based on how he's purchased things before and just continuously buying stake. So he's loving it. And you do have some backing of him as long as there's no news article that he's actually selling any positions. If that comes out, this thing will probably get hit hard because a lot of people are looking for comfort in the market, and you know, they find a little comfort with Teddy Bear Buffett. So we'll see. We got AMZN. Amazon. Uh, yeah, all of yesterday was a retest gap. We're right at that resistance. This one will be, I think, solely dependent on probably the SPY. If the SPY does want to pull back, this resistance I don't think breaks. If the market actually wants to go a little bit higher from here, look for your targets probably about 146.49. But we're probably at a little bit of indecision. We also have a lot of options expiring, not specifically just for Amazon, but big option expiration day today too. So that could add a little bit of chop to this market. Let me see Meta. The Mets, same thing. All of yesterday was a retest gap. So be careful of that. You should have support at 330.69. You can have different small levels along the way, but that was a bearish engulfing candle 2 days ago. Yesterday was a retest gap. Probably not a horrible place risk to reward wise, especially if we get a little bit of buying back into this like 332. Again, this is not recommendation, but to look at maybe some kind of puts, especially with this market, get some extra time on that puts because you're probably going to need it. Get 3 months out. Don't be afraid of 6 months out. Give yourself some time on it. Because if it starts to work quickly in your direction, you'll still make some money on it. But then I would have a stop somewhere around like 339.50, something to that zone. So if we start breaking out of this candle, we're gonna go higher on Meta. Otherwise, we've had one heck of a run on this thing, and that is a bearish engulfing candle. I don't expect this thing to be a big drop, like big major drop. Probably about a 50% retrace if it comes down, and yeah, maybe into like the 315 zone, somewhere to that extent, I would think. But a lot of these candles that we're looking at are just from yesterday. Even though they're green, they were just all really retest. The Googs looks a little bit different yesterday, so that one wasn't a retest whatsoever. We still have some room on this thing. Target probably would be about 138.87. That would be the initial. If we get through that, probably 139.68. So I think this one still continues. I think we see a little continuation today. Starting to get into a little bit of a chop zone, but that chop zone's still a little bit ahead. So maybe some room to run that one. Nike, what do I got left? 40 seconds. NKE. Nikelicious. We're at a very good volume spot. So watch for like 107.32 to hold. Obviously I'd go a little bit lower than that for stops, maybe somewhere in like, I don't know, probably get a good stop at like 106.69. I don't know about wave count. Wave count looks like we probably hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This could be out ABC. So same thing, as long as we're above 107.38, let's go 107.26. I like it a little bit more to the bullish side. If we start getting closes below that, maybe that wave count has come full circle and we could pull back a little bit. But that was the opening bell. You guys on YouTube land are absolutely incredible. Make sure you guys check out Real Life Trading if you have not done so already. We do have free education, free courses, and of course you don't have to disconnect. We have the all access pass. You guys are more than welcome.